Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online divorce, mediation, and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. We're speaking today with T.H. Irwin and Jessica Klingbaum, the exEXPERTS, about advice and resources for divorcing couples. They're divorce mentors, and their mission is to educate, empower, and support people to make the best decisions for their outcomes. Welcome, TH and Jessica. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us today.
We are great. So happy to be here with you.
And I think that, what resonates with me, with both of you, is that you had two completely different experiences. And you also had, like TH's, you would be like, oh, that's so long. You were probably unhappy. And that's not true. And Jessica, it was so short. You should be happy, but that's not true. But
Right.
I think if we dial it back a little bit, what a lot of people are at this point where they're like, I'm not happy. The pandemic has kind of made us all realize, mental health is important and we're making decisions that are good for us, right? But but people out there are like, yeah, but I'm still in this zone of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't even know how to make the first move. Maybe you guys throughout this podcast can kind of help our audience relate to the stages of this beginning process. So how did you first know that your marriage wasn't working? And how long was it that you still continued even when you knew something was kind of not right?
So we just had a conversation with one of our exEXPERTS, and it was just a great thought. If you can't sit down and have a conversation with your spouse or your partner about what's troubling you and how you're feeling, and to kind of measure if they're feeling the same way. If I can't say, let's sit down and talk about our relationship right now, then you pretty much have your answer. And I can tell you that I could not do that. We did not communicate. We never fought, but my kids thought we fought all the time because we didn't speak. So silence is also, in a kid's mind, a fight. We didn't yell. And when the yelling happened, it was like epic, but it was rare. So mine unraveled because of childhood. And there are so many stories like that. I married my mother, who loves me, but was highly critical of me my whole life, even today. So I married somebody who was also highly critical of me. And it was emotional abuse, which I understand now, but at the time I did not. And I had many people saying, hire a private detective, TH. I've seen this before, TH. I went to a therapist actually who said, you can continue to eat shit or you can leave. And I probably stayed another 2 years. So I think, and I had financial support and I had emotional support. I had everything that you would think you would need. And they're like, what the hell are you doing? And I could not find my way because it was a slow burn. And I was a shell of who I am today and who I was before. It was a slow burn. And I just could not find the strength, but I felt it in my gut. I was so unhappy. So I think the minute your gut starts not feeling good or situations start not feeling good, that's your first sign. And if you can't have a conversation, an adult conversation with your spouse about anything, but certainly about your relationship, then I think both of those things are very telling.
I would agree with that. I think that I've been married twice, divorced twice. I think that it wasn't as devastated as I was the first time. I feel like TH and I have had this conversation a lot. We both had our reasons to believe that shit was happening in our marriage, but it wasn't thrown in our face until it was thrown in our face. And before it was thrown in our face, we were just trying to not look at it, and we both had really small kids. We both had big jobs. Like, I think that sometimes you don't have the strength because you're not ready until you're ready. And fortunately for both of us, when it was thrown in our face, we were both ready. So both of us had, things that weren't going well in retrospect, but like for whatever reason, we weren't ready until that day that we each got our own independent calls. And and it wasn't hard for me, despite how upset I was. It was not hard for me to be like, I'm out. There has to be a line somewhere. And I also had, a great career, and I had a lot of support around me. And I was like, we're done. We're literally done. And in fact, when I told him that, I knew because I'm a woman and you have a woman's intuition, but he had not yet admitted that he'd been having an affair. And I said to him, it doesn't even matter anymore. I don't believe what you're saying. I don't trust what you're telling me. And for that, we're done. And so I remember after that, for years, thinking to myself, when there's an obvious impetus like infidelity in a marriage, as hard as it is to come to terms with it, it's not that hard for a lot of people to be like, that's the line. We're never going to be able to repair that. And I would wonder, how is it when there's a relationship, when someone's not cheating, that you are able to actually be like, this just isn't working anymore? And I have always felt that is in fact potentially a more challenging situation to be in. Because you're with someone for however long you're with them, and like now you're just, I don't think I want to be married to you anymore. And that's actually what happened to me in my second marriage. And that was gut-wrenching in a lot of ways. He was not the right man for me. Great guy, not the right man for me. And that was a much harder decision back and forth for a very long time of like, but do I actually divorce? Like, I don't know. Is there a way to work it out? He didn't do anything wrong. So I feel like for people, I think it really is what TH said. Like, it's all about your gut, whether or not there's a reason like cheating, or if there isn't. If you inherently in your heart of hearts are feeling like you're not happy when you're home with them, you're not happy with who you are. It felt in my second marriage like I wasn't who I used to be. And I was like, I can't live like this forever. This can't be how I'm going to feel for the rest of my life, because I know what it's like to feel different. And that's what I want to feel like. And so if you aren't feeling like things are right, then you really need to dig deep, and you need to talk to a therapist, talk to someone who can give you the support and the guidance to start that dialogue with your spouse.
Well, and I think that you made a very important point, is that everybody has a line, and that line is going to be different for every person in every marriage or situation. Because we do see a lot of people stay together until the kids go off to college.
Totally
We
fine.
do see, oh, well, we can just live here as roommates. You be in the basement, I'll be in the master, or you be in the guest room. I mean, there's a lot of ways to facilitate just continuing on, but you still will reach that line. Like, I don't want a roommate. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then you have to kind of either have the discussion with your spouse or get prepared. And so